Hey y'all, welcome to my weekly Live with Sam Yoder show. I'm your host, Sam Yoder. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Hopefully we're live. We have producer Greenbean back there working really hard, and sometimes he messes up because he's not perfect like I am. But we appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the show, feel free to share this out. If you guys have questions, please comment, and we'll read your comments on the air. And tell us where you're watching from, and if you have any questions for our guests and all that, we would love to hear from you. Before we get started, I want to say a quick thank you to our sponsors that help make this show possible. We have Texas Skid Steer located in Springtown, Texas. You can find them online at texasskidsteer.com or call them at 817-220-0100. Also licensed to carry handgun classes. Mr. Bobby Miles does the license to carry classes. You can call or text him at 817-726-7082. Also the Beaded Cuff. They're located on Facebook. They can ship just about anywhere. And they make really cool earrings, bracelets. You can have your custom brand put on it, your initials, whatever you want. Also, Miles Realty. They're a realty and builder company located in Springtown, Texas. You can find them online as well at TommyMilesRealty.com. Also, Mr. Kelvin Miles is running for Justice of the Peace of Precinct 1 of Parker County. You want to vote for him. I think the actual voting date is May 22nd, so make sure you guys get out and vote for him. He's an awesome guy. His slogan is honest, fair, and integrity, and I agree with that. Kelvin is an awesome guy. Also, JC's Quick Mark, they're located in Peaster, Texas at 8801 FM 920. Awesome little spot to stop by and get some burgers, fries, grab some breakfast, lunch, whatever you want. I stop by there all the time, talk to them, good folks. And last but not least, our friends at the Music Center in Azle, Texas, where we're broadcasting from at 106 West Main Street in Azle, right next to El Paseo. Make sure you guys check them out if you want any sort of musical instruments or lessons. So, if our producer will switch our camera, maybe it was never switched in the first place, I will introduce our guest for tonight. His name is Mr. Edwin Miller. Edwin, thank you for coming and being on the show. It's good to have you.
Thank you for having me, Sam.
Yes, sir. I am going to real quick share this out. Turn my volume down so people don't hear me. Share this. So, did you already share this on the live stream? Man, you're on top of it.
I tried to be. Yeah.
Let's see. I can't tag you, but perfect. Well, make sure you guys share this out so everybody gets to meet Mr. Edwin Miller. We're going to be talking about a lot of cool stuff. Edwin grew up Amish, and so we're going to talk a little bit about that, and then what he does for work now and how he might be able to help you, especially if you are as smart as I am. So, Edwin, you live in Fort Worth, Texas now, correct?
Correct, yep.
And how long have you lived in Texas, Fort Worth?
So we've lived here in Texas.
You and your wife. You're married. Your wife's name is Sarah. She is somewhere in the audience. We're not sure where she's at, but there's so many of them out there. It's just hard to see. You know?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, but I can spot her actually. You know? I've got eyes for her. So.
You got the
but yeah, we've lived here ever since we got married in September of 2015.
Okay,
Yep.
So you've been here about 3 years-ish.
Almost, 2.5 years. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's back way up. You were actually born in East Texas.
Yeah, correct.
How were you? How to explain? Tell us about that.
Okay, so my parents got married in Oklahoma, and shortly thereafter, they decided that they're gonna move to Texas, which is a little town called Winsboro, Texas.
Okay.
Not a whole lot of people.
I've heard of that.
Heard of that?
Yeah, I have actually.
There's maybe about 1 in every 25 people I talk with here that know about it.
Okay.
So they said they moved down there for about, I think they lived there for maybe a year and a half. Not super long. Long enough for me to be born. So I'm the only one in the family that's actually a native Texan, you could say.
There you go. Good work. That's more than I can say.
Yeah. So I always wanted to come back to Texas. I just thought it was cool. Thought it was a cool place to be from. And so... yeah, we had the opportunity to come down here.
That's awesome. So you grew up Amish, as did I. So look at these two sophisticated Amish guys on camera. How about that? See, that's good. Yeah. That's good in itself. I mean, that ought to be worth something. So, so you grew up Amish. So what were they? So there was an Amish community in Oklahoma, or tell us a little bit about your growing up and how you're not Amish anymore, like how that all came about.
How that all came about, right? So my parents, like I said, they got married in Oklahoma. My oldest brother was born there, and then they moved to Texas for a brief period of time. They moved back up to Oklahoma because it didn't really work out here in Texas. And so then they ended up settling down in southern Ohio.
Okay.
Adams County, Ohio. It's about I grew up about an hour and a half east of Cincinnati.
Okay.
I mean, it was a county that bordered the river, so
Okay.
people are always commenting on my accent, and I'm like, yeah, I was far enough south to kind of pick up a little bit of that redneck slang.
Right. Okay.
And still in the northern section, so I've got a real funny accent. Plus, I grew up, like I said, Amish, and then all that combined,
Yeah, it just makes for a real interesting accent. I'm with you. So now you're mixing some Texan in there with that. It's going to be real good here before too long.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So I grew up in Michigan, so I was kind of close to where you grew up.
Yeah.
So were they were still Amish when they were in Oklahoma and Texas?
Yeah. So like I said, I grew up Amish. My family left the Amish in 2000. Man, I was 14 years old. I'll never forget. We literally we just spent a Saturday afternoon fishing. We had a good time. And
as an Amish kid?
As an Amish kid, yeah. We just as a family had gone out to a place we caught some good-sized fish and everything. Had a good time. And my parents basically, my mom said, yeah, we're going to go to this Mennonite church tomorrow.
And for those of you that don't know what Mennonites are, if you guys have questions, feel free to comment and ask if you don't know something. But Mennonites are kind of sort of in between what Amish are and what the Amish people would call English people. So what's kind of in between what everyday people, right?
To a certain extent.
Yeah. So there's kind of more of some, depending on, I'm sure, the community you live in, right?
Yeah, right. So we ended up doing that. I just turned 14 years old. My parents, my parents left with all of us, all of us kids left, and part of that was because they didn't really want us growing up as teenagers. They didn't really want us to be associated with all the stuff they saw going on with the youth of that particular Amish community. So we ended up leaving. Actually, a lot of the kids I went to school with, they either they don't live there in that community anymore, or they may have moved to different Amish communities, or they just left altogether. Actually, a lot of my closer friends have left the Amish that I grew up with. So.
Perfect. So you guys went to a Mennonite church, and you guys ended up joining the Mennonites, or what? Are you leaving the Amish and joining that?
Yeah. So that's kind of an interesting story. We left. There was in the Amish community where I grew up, we're about 5 years behind the main. There was probably 25 families that left. There was a small Amish community. We had 4 church districts. Okay. And I'm sure you know how those are. But basically, yeah. So it wasn't a very big community, but there was this kind of this revival that came through. And a lot of them started they realized that there's more to life than just rules.
Yeah, absolutely.
So around 25 families left in about a year and a half, 2-year time frame. Okay. And it really caused a lot of controversial, right? So my parents didn't leave with that initial group, even though they were kind of a part of that. They kind of felt a spiritual awakening at roughly the same time that happened. They just kind of hung in there a little bit longer. And so then we left, like I said, about 5 years after that main group. Okay. And we joined the Mennonites. And we I actually joined the Mennonite church, got baptized as a Mennonite, and joined the church there. And then things we realized that the difference between Mennonites and Amish is not all that great.
Yeah, not that much difference, or what?
There really isn't a lot, Unfortunately, they're just a more liberal version of the Amish, unfortunately.
Yep, so a lot of them. Yeah, that's interesting. So somebody, Justin Allison, said interesting. I know, right? Y'all comment. Let us know where you're watching. I see there's a bunch of y'all watching on there. Comment. Let us know where you guys are watching from. And if you guys have a question for Edwin or myself or his wife who's sitting in the audience, who said that we couldn't pay her enough to get up here in front of on the camera, so we won't make her come up here. But we'll ask her questions if y'all want to know. So this funny story, I just found out tonight that his wife's aunt was my school teacher at one point in time. That's pretty interesting, huh?
Yeah, it is. I hope she whooped your butt pretty
good.
Oh,
she did. Very, very. She worked me over real good for being a bad kid. Oh boy. Green bean, be nice, Green bean. You can turn that camera around now.
Just try to scare her.
Oh, it's not really on. Okay, that's great. So you ended up leaving the Mennonite church eventually, I guess?
Yeah, so I kind of, I've been doing some outreach and stuff in the Cincinnati area, and basically I realized that, this is not really what life is all about. I had a lot of good experiences there at the Mennonite Church. It really helped shape who I am and what I became, because I had people that took an interest in teaching me things, from the financial perspective, and that's kind of really where I started catching this bug to learn more about finances, because I realized that is a huge part of our life that we just gloss right over and don't pay any,
and nothing really happens without finances. I mean, right. let's be honest. We have our sponsors to thank for helping make this show possible. So everything revolves around those things. So
right, and it's not like that's the most important thing in life, but it's probably about the second or the third most important thing. Because without money, without finances, you're really not going to be able to do. I mean, you can do a lot with lots of examples. Martin Luther King Jr., Mother Teresa, all those people, but they had financial backing.
Yeah, yep.
Someone's got to do it, and if we know more about the financial system that we use, maybe we could actually implement more of that finances towards a good cause versus allowing other people to control and dominate the financial landscape.
Yeah, and so that's good, because I feel like, probably myself included, a lot of people are just kind of stuck in that system and they don't really know a different way, right?
Yeah, that's what I found. That's kind of what I was until, it's not that I'm like, it's not, you don't have to be a financial guru. You don't have to go to school. You don't have to get any accounting degrees. You don't have to be a CPA. You don't need any of that stuff. All you really need to know is...
You need to have a brain. You got to be able to think.
Yeah, you just want to, if you have the curiosity to learn a little bit, that's all you really need.
Okay.
And keep an open mind that, maybe everything you have been taught is not exactly the way it actually is. I mean, it's probably a lot of it is that way, but you have to be open to changing the way you actually look at things.
Okay.
I just draw it back to my experience leaving a cultural setting like the Amish and the Mennonite. You can't move on in life unless you change the way you fundamentally look at the world.
Right.
You just can't.
Well, yeah, because if you or I were to there's a lot of things that I have that I've kept from the way I grew up, and I'm sure the same way with you. But if you hold on to just that and just, this is how we did it back then, it's not going to work in today's what you're doing today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we charged the same prices to shoe horses as we did when we were Amish, and we're driving a nice new truck and have a shoeing trailer and buying horseshoing supplies, it wouldn't work real well. We'd be broke.
Yeah, we would be. Yeah. Well, yeah. We would be broker. Yeah.
But no. Yeah. So, hey, I'm going to take a quick second and say hi to our friends on Facebook that are watching. I see a bunch of y'all are commenting on here, so we want to give y'all a shout out. And if you guys, like I said, if you have questions or comments, or let us know where you guys are watching from. Justin Allison said, interesting. Justin said he's from Azle, Texas. What's up? Does anybody know Justin? Green Bean, producer Green Bean.
Where's that cricket button? I don't know.
Oh, you need to get after it. Robert Miller said Southern Ohio. Justin said, I'd like to invite y'all to my church. Y'all have a church you go to?
Yeah, we do. We go to, it's called City Life Center.
Okay.
It's in downtown, actually. I don't know if you know Mayor Betsy Price?
I know who she is.
Yeah.
We're not texting pals or anything.
Yeah.
But.
So our pastor, Tim Woody, is actually, he is on her, basically, I believe they call it the Faith Members Cabinet.
Okay.
Basically, he's one of the.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's a smaller church, but it's right off of Florence Street.
Okay, awesome. I go to a little church right outside Lake Worth here called First Baptist Lakeside.
Oh,
I took your friends from Colorado there one time. Eddie Richardson said, Harrison, Ohio, what's up, Edwin? Bless you, brother. David Miller said, get up there. Sarah, get up there. Come on, Sarah. You're getting everybody's wanting to... she talks a real big game when the camera's not rolling. She's up here before the show. She's fixing his shirt. She's doing his last minute touch up, makeup, and things like that. And now she's out of sight.
Yeah.
But Rudy Helmuth said hotel room in Cincinnati, Ohio. What's up, Rudy Helmuth? Rudy drives the hitch for Budweiser, and I don't really personally know him, but we're friends on Snapchat, and we're always sending goofy stuff back and forth. So Susie Hirschberger said Western New York. So we've got folks watching from all over the place. Oh, we're going to have to turn that volume down. Yeah.
Yeah.
So make sure you guys share this out so that everybody else from all over the country gets to meet Edwin. He's. Have you ever done an interview style deal on Facebook like this before?
I've never done an interview style. No.
No?
I've
Okay.
done about 2 or 3 Facebook Live videos. Not
Okay.
much.
Yeah, that's you're better off for it.
Yeah, a little bit.
No.
I hope, right?
No, but that's good. And I just lost my news feed here, so I have to find it. But back to what you were saying after you left, and learning about finances and all that, about having to leave behind what you left behind in the Amish or Mennonite church, and then starting your own life. So you got how long have you been married?
I've been married 2.5 years. We got married in September 2015. Yeah.
Okay, so you guys pretty much got married and moved straight to Texas.
Yep, we did.
Who's the smart one here? Both of y'all just liked coming here, or what?
Yeah, well, we were originally looking at Arizona, New Mexico. We really didn't know anyone in that area. So, actually, Sarah has a cousin out here. Actually, I had 2 cousins at the time, and one of them was like, I'm going to be doing a lot of traveling. You guys can basically move into my house, take care of it, and make sure bills are paid, basically pay my mortgage and taxes and whatever, and you guys are cool. So we were like, okay, well, we got a place to stay, right? Now just finding a job shouldn't be too hard. So sure enough, about a week later, we already talked about it. We're like, we're coming to Texas. We're like all excited about coming to Texas. She was like, she sent an email like, oh, I decided to sell my house instead of.
Okay.
Okay, well, now I guess we kind of had some jobs and stuff in the works already, kind of looking at it. Her cousin emails like, hey, I heard you guys might be coming to Texas. So he actually was talking with Sarah. I believe maybe you emailed him or asked him, texted him. Yeah, she texted him about having a job for me because she knew he did construction stuff. He's like, yeah, sure, he'd have a job for me. So all of a sudden I had the job situation figured out, and we're like, well, the next thing is finding a house. We didn't realize how hard housing was to find here in Texas at a reasonable price. But
yeah, at a reasonable price, that's for sure. But you know what? The DFW area is growing like crazy, and I think it's the place to be right now. I think people that don't live here are missing out. So so you guys moved right straight. So why did you say Arizona or Texas or whatever? You just wanted to get out of the Midwest?
Yeah. So snow's a 4-letter word.
Yeah, it is.
And
it is a 4-letter word.
I don't care as much about that as I wanted to move west.
Yeah.
And so we're like, oh, the Southwest is kind of, it's west and it's south. Why not just do that?
Right.
Because we've been looking at moving there close to staying in the southern Ohio areas. That's where I had all my, business contacts and everything that I'd ever done. I was making pretty good money on a construction crew there. So my wife, my fiance at the time, she wasn't all that hot on moving in southern Ohio, not in the Ohio River Valley anyway.
Yep.
And the economics there are just like nothing.
Right. Yep.
Literally. And so, yeah, we were just kind of looking at moving
somewhere
west and south to get away from the snow, and preferably away from, west of the Mississippi was cool with me.
Yeah,
so we're like, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad y'all are here. That's good. I've been here for, I think in the 4th of July, it'll be like 11 years or something I've been here.
11 years? Yeah.
Yeah, something
nice.
like that. So it's been a while.
Yeah, what brought you here?
So I actually left Michigan and had a job in Hawaii, and I worked over in Hawaii on a ranch for about 1.5 years. And then my brother moved down here to Texas. He was riding bulls at the time, moved down here just because there's a lot more opportunity for that. And obviously, like you said, snow is a 4-letter word, and so there's less snow down here and more time to do that. And so after he moved down here, he did a little bit of it, and then he's like, you know what, it pays better to work. And so I talked to him. I was wanting to leave the place where I was at, and he said, why don't you move over here? So I did, and I hated this state. I'll tell you, I hated Texas with a passion. I absolutely hated it. It was a real tough time making a go of it when I first moved down here, but I like it now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's good stuff. So here we are, and now let's I'm going to hop back over on Facebook for a second because a few people are asking questions, and then I want to get into what you do now for work and tell the people what they need to what they need to know, I guess. Let's see, Rudy. Let's see. Dolores Saunders said Dolores from Fort Worth, Arlington, Texas. Susie Hirschberger, she's from New York. Andrew Miller said from the Recliner.
That's my dad.
Who's that?
That'd be my dad.
That's your dad?
Yeah, that's my dad.
What's up, Dad? So, Rudy Helmuth said, what's the future of the stock market?
What's the future of the stock market? Well, number one, I'm no stock market expert, but anytime the market goes up, it always comes down.
Okay.
I mean, I just took a couple of numbers. Warren Buffett last week lost $4.2 billion.
Okay. That's a nice little chunk of
It's a
change.
nice little chunk of change. I could retire off of that.
Right,
You
yeah.
know, he lost that. That's only a 4 point. Actually, that's about almost a 5% loss.
Okay.
I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at. You know?
Right,
It really
yeah.
isn't. Especially not once you're about 90 years old like he is.
Right. Warren probably doesn't have a whole... Shoot, he could probably give away everything he had and live off the fact that he's Warren Buffett.
Yeah, probably. You're right. Probably could. Yeah.
So, so you don't know what the stock market's going to do, but like you said, it's going up, so it's probably going
It'll
to
come down.
It'll
Definitely.
come down.
Always does.
Yeah.
It's never always going up. So, that, I mean, I don't know. There's all kinds of conspiracy theorists and people out there want to say they know when the market's going to come down.
But nobody probably... It's kind of like Jesus returning. Nobody really knows.
No one really knows. If people actually knew, why wouldn't everyone be in the stock market and we'd all just get out once it's going to crash?
Yeah.
Well, the problem is no one knows, so
Right,
that's
yep.
why we don't.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, if
So when you moved down here to Texas, you worked on a construction site for a while, right? Or you did construction work for a while when you first moved down here, and then you worked for another company?
Yeah, so what we did is the company I was working for at the time, was a contractor, my wife's cousin. Actually, he's serving a deployment right now, which is kind of why I had to find something else to do. But we were building sheds for Tough Shed.
Okay.
When we built a good bit of sheds for them, and then we kind of went back to a different company where we were building sheds for them, and I knew I had to find something different to do.
Right.
You know, because he'd got his orders, noticed he was going to get deployed, and they were kind of doing some different things. So, yeah, I ended up, I took a job at Tough Shed working as a superintendent for him last summer, but that ultimately didn't work out just due to
just some things.
some things. Yeah.
So then you started pursuing more of the you sell life insurance, right?
Yeah. So
tell us from the beginning. I mean, whatever you want to say. I don't know what you want to say about that. So you tell us about that part of it.
Yeah. So I'd had an interest in finances, and I just didn't really know how. Like, I don't like numbers, right, per se, as far as accounting. Like, that's not my strong suit.
Yeah.
I'd much rather learn how to make money for me.
Okay.
Or for other people, and then just get paid to do that, right? So I didn't really know anything about. I didn't know how it all worked or any of that stuff, and I knew that in order to grow myself as a person, grow as a career, to actually be successful as an entrepreneur, I had to learn how to sell.
Okay.
Like, I had to learn how to sell. I had tried a couple of gigs, had found moderate success, had already started, a small branch of the family business, been successful at that, so I knew I had what it took to really make something work. I just never found it in sales on a massive scale. So I kind of was looking around on Craigslist, and lo and behold, I answered an ad.
Okay.
Actually answered a couple of ads, and I ended up with this gentleman by the name of Chris Chalk. He's out of Detroit, Michigan.
Man, good old Michigan boy. He's got to be a pretty smart guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Except the economy's not doing really good.
Yeah, well,
or it hasn't. It might be getting better now.
It's getting a little bit better, but I'll tell you what, when the economy's not doing good, it's the opportunity.
Yeah.
Chris has found it. Kind of, to a certain extent. I'm telling you, if the economy is not doing good, there's always a market for something. You just got to figure out what that market is and pursue it. So anyhow, he was in Dallas for a training with the company Equus Financial at the time. So I went and met him, and he was a big producer. I mean, sold making $200,000 to $300,000 a year.
Okay.
And which is something I knew if I wanted to make that kind of money, I had to find someone that did it and that could teach me how to do it.
Yeah.
So, long story short, he ended up hiring me, and kind of went through some bumps. No road is going to be straight uphill. So that's why I took a job at Tough Shed last year, is because of some things that occurred there. So anyhow, then when the Tough Shed job didn't really work out all that great, as much as I enjoyed, actually being a part of the management team there and being able to actually help grow, I ended up deciding to step away from that. Okay. And before things got worse, and just pursue the sales job, insurance, working in the financial industry, which is what I always kind of had a passion for. Okay. Ever since. I could trace that all the way back to when I was a Mennonite, and people took the time to help me understand, and basically probably started with a book by, I believe it was Gary Miller, called Charting a Course, or just talk is kind of a financial book for teenagers on how to plan a financial future. And all of a sudden I realized that, hey, there's a lot more than I've ever been taught.
Right. Yeah.
And what most people like, there's actually substantial stuff there, and it just kind of grew from there. You know.
Okay. So now, what do you do today? What do you do from day to day?
From day to day. So basically, what the company I work for, Equus Financial, we're a brokerage firm is the best way to describe it.
Okay.
They're a marketing, an IMO, an independent marketing organization. So we work with companies like Mutual of Omaha, Transamerica, National Life Group, Forster's Financial,
Okay.
All kinds, some of the top-rated insurance carriers in the nation.
Okay.
And basically what we do, our job is to market their products to people, correct? So the way that we generally, the kind of the core foundation of what Equus is built on is off of a mortgage protection lead. So you buy a house. You just said you just bought a house, right? How long?
I bought a piece of land with a shop on it with an apartment in it. So yeah, I mean, however you want to look at that.
Right. So
condominium type of deal.
Condominium, yeah. So did you get all kinds of letters in the mail when you took out that mortgage about mortgage protection?
So I actually did a owner finance type of deal. So I didn't actually go through a bank.
So it wasn't public records.
No.
Right. Okay.
No.
So generally what we work in is in the mortgage protection industry. So all that stuff's obviously public information, and people, they'll fill out a letter on the basis of mortgage protection, where banks used to offer it, and then they can't because there's too many legal complications that I guess the federal government said banks can't be that greedy, you can't do that. So they can't do it anymore. Even though I've run into a couple of mortgage companies that are informing their clients they have a mortgage protection plan when they really don't.
Okay.
But anyhow, it's just one of the things, it happens. So so basically what happens is companies will either they'll collect or purchase that data, and they'll send out letters, and it's got all information. People will fill that out. It's a mortgage protection plan, and basically then we'll call them up and say, hey, you were interested in mortgage protection. Right?
Well, what exactly is mortgage protection?
So mortgage protection.
Obviously it's a protection for your mortgage, but explain what
is mortgage protection. So a mortgage protection plan, it used to be a plan, a decreasing term life plan, what banks would offer you, and you could get it for, depending on your health and everything, because at the end of the day, the bank will give you 3 months to come up with mortgage payments. Your wife, your family, whoever's left after you die.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they know they're going to collect their collateral at some point.
Right. Yep. It's just a matter.
Right. It's just a matter of time.
Yep.
The only way you can protect against that is basically what we call a life insurance policy.
Okay.
So then, when bank could no longer offer this, private companies started coming up with plans that actually build or incorporate critical illness, chronic, and terminal illness riders into it. So you don't have to die. I call it new life insurance, right? It's an actual life insurance policy, not just a death insurance.
Right.
Because the majority of bankruptcies are not due to death.
Right. There are people getting cancer and spending every last dollar they have for treatments, etc., and then they end up they can't the house. I mean, life is more important to them. They can always go live in their mom's basement or something. So.
Right. Yeah.
So the house gets let go eventually. Is that
right? Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of what companies started coming up with. A lot of these companies do. Like, we don't even really work with a lot of companies. I'm trying to think. There's one company that still offers a term product that we work with that does not offer the full suite of living benefit products. Basically, a terminal, chronic, critical illness is one that most people are going to end up using, and a terminal chronic illness rider. So that's kind of what a mortgage protection is. I mean, there's a lot of there's agents. Okay, get this. There's agents that don't even know what living benefits are. They don't, because they're fairly new to the market.
Right.
And I mean, they've been around. I think National Life Group helped pioneer them back in 1997.
Okay.
But they're really starting to catch a hold because people need it. 1 in 2 male Americans, 1 in 2 is going to develop some form of cancer in a lifetime. Between you and myself, one of us is going to have it, statistically speaking.
So it's y'all take bets on here. Who's going to die first or get a terminal? It's probably going to be me.
Well, I don't know. You're a little bit older than me.
Well, gee, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know, right?
Yeah, no, I'm just giving you a hard time.
Yeah.
Probably it might be. How old are you?
I'm 23, almost 24.
Man, you're a young whippersnapper. So, hey, we're going to pause those thoughts for a second. I'm going to hop back over on Facebook, take some more comments, questions, whatever you guys have going on. Let's see. Samuel Jared said Southwest Indiana, God's country. Somebody said, haha, missing out. Mary Otto said, is Bitcoin going to rise again?
Is it?
I don't know. You're the expert here, so I guess she's asking you a question. Do you have any experience in Bitcoin?
I don't. I hear.
You're not talking to Gary Vee and everybody and getting all their.
I never invested in Bitcoin. I invested last year. I invested in stocks and stuff. I pulled all that money out to help fund my business.
Okay.
So I've got a little bit left in there, but here's what I heard something by I believe it was Claude Hamilton, one of the leadership authors that I follow, and he was like, when your average Joe can get in something like, let's say, the real estate market. When just like, I don't know anything about real estate.
Right.
Okay, I mean, I know there's good money in it, but you got to know how to do it.
Right.
Because you're going to end up upside down. And when your average Joe can get into the real estate market and make buku dollars off it, the game's about up.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That's.
I don't know a whole lot about stock investing. I made money. I beat the market last year.
Right.
Okay. As far as S&P, the average point to point.
Yep.
If I can do that. Guess what? I don't have a whole lot of stock in there. You know why? It's going to go down.
Right.
I made some money. I can use that money elsewhere. The market's already very volatile right now. Bitcoin was way up. Like, anyone that invested at 16,000 and went down to 13, like, okay, hello.
Sorry.
What did you expect was going to happen?
Right. Well, yeah. No, I mean, you don't.
Will it go up again? Maybe.
Right, but
it's.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Here's the thing. Bitcoin is still unregulated. So if who regulates our financial system? Our government does.
Yeah,
if they decide we are going to outlaw Bitcoin,
right?
What good is Bitcoin going to do?
Right.
Because everything's based off of the U.S. dollar. Right. So if they decide, if the people that are in power, what we call the elites of the world, basically the people that are pulling the strings at the Federal Reserve Bank, say Bitcoin is not a legitimate source of payments,
right? And
it's one of those deals where it's kind of like Uber. Who knew that Uber was going to make it?
Right.
You either invest money and you make it.
Right.
What if Uber would have crashed?
Yeah,
no one would ever hear about it.
Yeah, like Starbucks or anything. I know somebody that I think their aunt or somebody had the opportunity to invest in Starbucks when it first came around. I don't think they did it, but look at Starbucks now.
And those stories abound. So it's a matter of personal opinion.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it? I personally don't invest in Bitcoin. I feel that it's something I don't really understand.
Right.
If I don't understand it,
why would you go? Yeah.
Right. And I'm just trying to imagine a Bitcoin ATM machine standing out there in the it's going to take a long time to incorporate cryptocurrency into our current form. I just believe it will. It'll take a long time for it to really. I think it's overinflated right now, and it's how can $2 I don't understand enough about it to really be informed about it. There's Ty Lopez, all these people, they want to get cryptocurrency trading.
Right. Yeah.
I had this older lady that she was trying to tell me she's going to invest $50 and $100 here, and she's going to be a millionaire in 6 months. Right?
Okay.
I'm like, okay, whatever you say, because she was trying to get out. Basically, she was trying to tell me she doesn't want to buy life insurance. Basically, she was saying she's not going to need life insurance 6 months from now.
Right, she's not going to need it because she's
going to be a millionaire, right? Her kids aren't going to need life insurance. But I'm like, well, just in case this doesn't happen, maybe it would be a good idea to put a small policy in place so they can at least bury you, cremate you,
and not go in debt to get rid of you,
right?
Your body,
yeah. So that's basically what we end up doing. But I just look at all that stuff, all the investments and people in it. I'm like, statistically speaking, the only thing that has outpaced the vast majority of any investment or any financial planner has been an index product.
Has been what?
An indexed product.
And elaborate.
An index product is basically a product that allows you to participate in the market ups, but it guarantees you, most of the time it'll guarantee you a 0% return. Sometimes they might say over the course of 10 years we're going to guarantee you that your product you'll always have at least 80% of the base product you put in, which practically never happens because over a 10-year period, the stock market has never necessarily had a 10-year period where we haven't, at least when we look back at 10 years, we haven't at least had a little bit of a gain. So that's like, they're saying basically if the apocalypse happens, we're going to guarantee you have at least 80% of your base price. So they can't beat. Like no one. The only way that you've ever been able to, people have been able to outpace the market or beat the market is basically your elitists of the world. Basically, people that have insider knowledge.
The people that know what's going on.
Yeah, insider knowledge.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can't tell me that your financial planner is inside. If he does, let me know. Because if I could get 20 grand in his hand and he can make that into 40, guaranteed, I'm all over it. The problem is we don't have access to those people.
Yeah.
Because you're probably going to need about $1 million to get in.
Yeah.
Or more.
Yeah. Well, that's, you know what, that's good stuff. Y'all comment below and let us know if you think he is full of it or if you guys believe anything he said so far. I'm just over here kind of on the fence. No, I'm kidding you.
Yeah.
But but no, that's good stuff. I'm going to hop over to Facebook and take some more comments. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Your wife's going to have to take over. I got something in my throat. I can't talk.
Yeah.
Tiffany Rogers said West Tennessee in the house. Delora said Edwin sat behind you at the, how do you say that? Equus
yep.
Meeting, inspired by your story for sure. Wayne Yoder Jr. said, I just got an email from a company that trades in cryptocurrency trying to set me up so I can accept it for my upcoming car auction, so they are working on it. Well, I don't know. I don't have a comment. I mean, all I can say is good luck and hope. Like, I don't know. I don't know anything about it. Do you have any comments on that?
I mean, here's the thing. You're either going to make it or you're going to break it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't put all my eggs, even if I did invest in cryptocurrency, which I might.
Yeah.
You're
not necessarily saying don't. You're just saying if make sure you kind of have an idea what you're doing and try not to make a bad investment and get in when they're like, hey, it's booming and banging and like like you said earlier, it's probably going to go downhill before too long.
Right. And there's some people that are like, you know, Bitcoin specifically. If you want to talk specifically about Bitcoin, there's already talk going around about that may not be around in 10 or 15 years just because there's already, I forget the exact, there is an enormous, it's mind-boggling how much time and energy it takes to create one Bitcoin. One Bitcoin. Because it gets more complicated as time. There's only a certain amount of Bitcoins that can ever be made, which is what they argue is going to make it go up. Once it's just like gold. Well, the problem is it's not really like gold because they're mining gold. There's only the thing with gold I would argue that gold is a better investment, a safer investment.
Well, gold will be. I mean, the streets of heaven are supposed to be paved with it, so it's got to be worth something. Now, I don't think you can buy your way in there if you got enough of it.
Yeah, right. It's not like, oh yeah, bring your gold so we can finish the road, right?
Right. If you want, this is getting way off subject, but I mean, gold is from my understanding. I think my dad told me this or something, that back in the day you used to be able to go to the bank. Let's say you had $1,000 in the bank, and you said you used to be able to go there and say, I want to withdraw my $1,000 in gold, right? Mm-hmm. And now they don't do that.
They don't. So that's correct. I should have done a little bit of more research on this. I used to know these numbers a little bit, but back in the early, did you know that we used to actually have? We've had, the Federal Reserve Bank is not federal. It's not a reserve, and it's not a bank.
Right, yep.
We used to have a central bank. President Andrew Jackson, I mean, he was like Stonewall, right? He was this great general that's fought, he did some amazing stuff. The thing that he said was the hardest, he said it almost killed me, was when he shut down the central banking system of his day when he was president. He refused to basically renew the contract, renew the charter, whatever you want to call it. And that basically bankrupted, or it made our system go down. Now, we've had two central banking systems, and both of those banking systems got shut down basically by the American people because they knew what was going on.
Right.
So in 1910, there was about 6 people that met. They traveled on a train under alias names. Okay, that should tell you a little bit something.
Right.
To meet and figure out what they're going to do. In 1913, they created the Federal Reserve Bank. So I believe it was 1913. They had to create, then in order to fund it, they had to create the income tax. Our income tax is specifically our government, to the best of my knowledge, and I don't know 100%, but I don't believe that our government was supposed to be able to tax us. The way they got around that is they don't necessarily tax us, they tax our Social Security number. So if you never get a Social Security number, you can't do a whole lot, but neither do you have income tax. So there you go. You don't want to pay income tax. Die. Get your Social Security number off the charts. So, but basically, if you look at it, Social Security numbers are generally, they're not necessarily based out of our states. They're based out of D.C. See, D.C. or Washington, D.C. is not a state.
Right.
Here's what...
yeah, go ahead.
So people argue, oh, they should become a state, right? I don't think they're ever going to become a state because then they're going to run into complications with the way our tax system is structured. Because the reason they can get away with some of it is because it's not a state. It's just a district.
Yeah,
so
it's the District of Columbia or whatever.
Yeah,
which is I've always thought about that, and I'm like, it's odd to me
because you can't, according to the Constitution, they can't favor one state. So let's say the capital and all the important stuff is in the state of Virginia. Guess who's going to get all the benefits? The state of Virginia. Well, it's not. It's a district.
Yep.
So that's kind of some of the way. But anyhow, we've created all that, and there was people talking about because income tax was low, and there was some of our people in Congress were talking about it's not going to take very long. We're going to see income taxes at 30, 40, 50%, and they got laughed at. They're like, "You're crazy. That'll never happen."
Right.
It only took 30 or 40 years for that to happen.
Right. Yeah.
It didn't take 120 years.
Yeah.
We've seen 30, 40, 50, 60, 70% tax brackets in America already.
Right. Yep.
And I just look at it. Okay, so we created a system. Basically, we signed away when they created the Federal Reserve Bank system. They had to create something that the American people don't know that much about.
Well, yeah, which is always great when you try to, kind of like cryptocurrency or anything, get people to buy into it because they don't know a whole lot about it, but make it sound good and they buy it. And
so that's kind of what happened. And I understand, we needed a central banking system because what happened? Let's say North Texas, which we just had a drought, for the last 8 years, well, not last 2 years, but so all of a sudden, bankers are basically giving farmers and stuff, they're borrowing them amounts of money to go purchase equipment, right?
Yep.
Whatever. All of a sudden, these farmers can't make payments. What happens? Banks go upside down.
Right.
People, then you're not a farmer, you're a horseshoer.
Yep.
So you're doing okay.
Yep.
But your bank goes bankrupt, and you can't get your $10,000 in savings out anymore. What are you going to do?
I'll be a little upset.
And you're going to tell your friends
who
bank
absolutely.
at a different bank.
Right, yeah.
They're going to say, you know what, that might happen to my bank. They're going to run to their bank, pull their money out. What's going to happen? Now the bank has no money. All of a sudden you have this run on banks that created a major financial catastrophe for the American banking system.
Right.
And there was these runs on banks that were happening, so they needed to create they needed to create some kind of a system that would offset that would basically ensure
the FDIC is basically with it.
Yeah, so they created the Federal Reserve Banking System, and that was designed to do that. But what happened in that process is basically we gave control. Who prints the money? It's not the federal government. The Federal Reserve Bank does. Most of our debt is not to China or Russia. We have debt to the other countries. A lot of our debt is owed to the Federal Reserve Banking System, which is controlled not by the federal government, but by certain individuals within that that control it. So all the government is doing is saying, we're going to print out bonds, we're going to give you interest on it, just give us more money.
Yeah.
And at any point in time, they can just say, we're going to print out more bonds, and boom, all of a sudden the dollar that used to buy you a Coke, now it takes $1.50.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm with you. I had a guy in Michigan one time I was up there, and he was explaining the debt and the way everything works, and it's very interesting to say the least. It's a little scary if you think about it too much. Yeah,
it is a little bit. It's kind of like drinking Kool-Aid, right? You're drinking Kool-Aid. Well, there's no Kool-Aid in here, so it's not. But it's a matter of just understanding,
just being smart about it and having knowledge on it.
So all of a sudden, why do you think someone like Andrew Jackson that it almost killed him?
Right.
Follow the money. Anytime you can follow the money. Mm-hmm. And how much time have we got left?
We're still good.
So
we've got about 15 minutes.
Yeah. So because it's the way people get paid and the way money works. So it's just a matter of understanding, have a basic understanding of how and why the system works the way it does.
Right.
Cryptocurrency has the ability to completely change it. Why? Because right now there's no regulation.
Right.
So if all of a sudden cryptocurrency does go up, guess what? I'm going to be out of luck because I don't have cryptocurrency.
Right, yeah.
So, it can go either way. Right. But at this point, I'm just like, I don't know.
Right.
It's unregulated. There's like the federal government. If you know anything about them, they're typically the feds are not. They don't like it because
Right.
it's jeopardizing their financial security.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anytime that happens, it might be a good idea to invest in it. But I can't control who's controlling the cryptocurrency.
No, I'm
if
with
all
you.
of a sudden I get hacked.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Because someone embedded something in a transfer that was done online, my cryptocurrency may not only be gone, but like Wells Fargo just did with me. Like they just transferred, all this money, we're upside down in our account because they did unauthorized transactions on our account.
And they're not being responsible, and they're not being accountable.
Yeah,
for it?
so it's like there's too much stuff that I don't really understand about it for me to really know.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to talk to someone that knows more about it than I do to really get an in-depth understanding of it. But I'm just saying, from my perspective, what I understand of our financial system, I'm like,
it's kind of scary.
Maybe
it's interesting.
Depends on how much money you've got to basically say, well, it doesn't matter how much money if I lose this, and that's how I do with my stock investments. I'm like, if I lose all this money, I'm still gonna be okay.
Right?
You know?
Yeah. Don't invest. Don't bank on that. Yeah. So you wanted to bring your in a minute. You want to bring something here. Okay. So I'm going to take some more of our comments from Facebook. Who do you know? Eva Lee. I think that's somebody y'all know. Yeah. Lorena Miller said, "Come on, Sarah, get up there." David Miller said, "Camel in the tent, buddy. Remember fast." What?
As my brother-in-law, actually, I just wrote an IUL for his wife, which I'll explain a little bit how that works.
He said, "By the way, we got our IUL papers and all ready to roll. Thanks. Now we're also going to need some mortgage protection insurance."
Yeah. So I wrote a policy. I put it on his wife, which is my sister-in-law, because it's cheaper to insure females.
Okay.
They discriminate against us.
Yeah.
But not really. The mortality rate is lower for females. And she's a little bit younger than him. So basically, because they're looking at using that as a retirement. I was talking to you a little bit about that before the show. I mean, they're looking at a couple $100 a month, and they're going to be able to pull over $100,000 a year out of that account, tax-free by the time I think it's age 62 or 65. I can't remember exactly how I illustrated that out.
So explain that, and if people are interested in what you do, tell people if people have questions on what exactly it is that you do and how you can help them. Can you explain to the people right now what that is, and just give them a short rundown of what they can do? Right.
So what I primarily use in the mortgage protection, but my goal when I work with people is to not just sell a product, right? I want to help put them in a better financial position because, number one, no one wins if all I'm doing is taking dollars and making a commission off of it. So what I normally like to look at, and you have to be in good health to do this, is create an income stream in the future where you can at least get your money back, right? You cover yourself. I mean, the last thing you want to do is work 20 or 30 years. Let's say you have a house that's, an average median price for a house in here is roughly, you're going to look at $220,000, 200 plus.
Yeah.
Like we're looking at buying a house right now. We're not going to get a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house with about 1,300 square feet, a nice starter home for much less.
Right.
Then a good deal is going to be $140,000
on absolutely, yeah.
0.75 acre lot, nothing. So all of a sudden you work all your life for it. You 20 years of paying into it. You get cancer. Okay, the average cost of medical treatments. Okay, this is not what insurance pays. This is the average cost. $35,000. You have $35,000 saved up?
I don't.
Neither does almost anyone else. What if you had an insurance policy that, for let's say $140,000, that had a critical illness, right? It said, hey, you get cancer, we'll pay you up to 95% of your policy before you die.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you've got $35,000, right?
Right. Yeah.
But what if we take that a step further and we say we're going to not only pay for insurance, we're going to create a cash value accumulation in it, kind of like a whole life, but we're going to do it a little bit different in a universal life. And like you have to be healthy to get these. In 20 years, all the money you've paid into it, you've protected yourself. But instead of making, let's say your mortgage payment is $945, instead of making an extra payment every year, we paid, let's put it at $1,000, $1,200 a year into an insurance policy.
Yep.
And then to 20 years, if you're at a 4.5% interest in the cash value that's accumulated, not only have you protected yourself, you've created a cash value account. You can tell the insurance company, I don't need the insurance anymore because I'm going to pay off my mortgage. I'm just going to Just give me a loan. Basically, I'm going to surrender my policy. I'm going to go to the bank, cash in. Now you're home free and clear in 20, 25 years.
Yeah.
And you protected yourself.
Right.
Now, let's say in 21 years, you still have the policy, you just haven't taken the time to do it. You get cancer. You can't work. You can't make payments.
Right.
What did we just get done doing? We created cash, instant cash available for you from your insurance company. Guess what? You can probably pay your mortgage off because out of 140, if you get 95% of it off of 148,000, you've got more than enough to not only pay the mortgage but get some treatment.
Yeah.
So that's kind of basically covering debt. Now, the other thing, that's where I'll bring up the board, is supplemental. I call it supplemental retirement and disability planning, and that's all done through life insurance policies as well that you can create, and which is what David on there was talking about. I helped them do is set up basically a policy. It's gonna the goal for that particular policy is only for income. We're not looking at if something happens to her.
Right.
We're not necessarily looking to take money out of it. If worst comes to worst, I mean, there's a couple $100,000 there that might be available to them, but that's not really the goal of the policy. The goal of the policy is to create income.
Okay.
When she reaches age, 65 or 67. So that's really the goal of that whole policy. You can do that via cash free. And let's bring the board up.
Let's bring this board up here, and you can show people. We'll move your chair out of the way. So, yeah, we may have to have our producer here move our cameras. I'm just going to sit over here to the side and what are you going to do? Draw us a cool picture?
No, I'm not good at drawing pictures. You want to draw a picture?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. We should have made her carry this up here.
Yeah, we should have. Yeah.
So, producer, can we? She doesn't fall for those tricks.
Okay, so that was weird how we're looking there.
You're good.
You good?
Keep going.
Okay, so the way that we normally will do this is a life insurance policy has got tax advantage that a mutual fund or an IRA doesn't. So the way that an insurance company insurance companies got a bad rap. I have a bad rap because I got scammed partially through an insurance company. That was through a P&C company.
Okay.
They do a lot of property and casualty insurance. But in life insurance, a lot of our, kind of a little bit of a history is a lot of our retirement plans, pension plans and stuff, were the basis for retirement plans used to be kind of through insurance companies. I mean, you've had more banks go bankrupt than insurance companies.
So hold on 1 second. Can we move this camera up to where you can catch him in this?
I'm working on it.
Yes, Green Bean. I'm sorry. Our audience, just hold tight. We're working on it over here.
So what's happened is we've created insurance companies created universal life policies and stuff, and they have a bad rap. There's people want to knock them, and that's all great and good. But here's kind of the way it works. An insurance company, you pay them, let's say, $200 a month, right? The cost to insure a 30-year-old male is maybe, in good health, you're looking at, for a $250,000 policy, you can probably get a term insurance today for 1 year, maybe $30 a month. So let's say you pay them $250. Here's your premium dollar, right? So what they're going to do is they're going to take 95%. They're going to invest that into long-term bonds. They know historically, over a 20-year period, exactly how much money they made on that. They've made, as long as they can keep their money in there for 20 years, they know they're going to make their money off it. This 5% here gets invested into very risky, a lot riskier assets and stuff.
Okay.
And basically, so they know they can make money. They're going to invest it. They have got billions of dollars in their asset management. What they do with this 5% is basically what allows them to gain much higher yields on it. So when you pay, it's going to come out of an account basically, and they're going to follow in their accounts. They manage a lot of it. So the stock market goes up, and it goes down. Over the last year, it's looked more like this, right? We haven't really. But normally, what you'll see this happen. Hey,
can we have this camera zoomed in closer so people can see what we're doing?
So basically, what happens is when on that account, they'll allow you to participate. They'll take this dollar, the extra dollar. You're paying $250 a month into it, but it's only costing you $30 to actually get insurance because you want to get the tax advantage of it. What happens is this market is going to go up, it's going to go down, and then at some point you always see this happen.
Right.
And then it kind of comes back up, right? It goes up drastically. So in an indexed account, they're not going to give you the full percentage gains of the market. You're going to start off here, When it goes down, you're going to level off. They're going to allow you to kind of participate in this.
Right.
Come up, it goes, then when it starts going up, all of a sudden, they're not giving you everything the market's making. So right here, all of a sudden, you just make zero. This guy, let's say he had, let's put him at about 50 grand, right? So all of a sudden, he's down to 10.
Right.
You've still got 50 grand in there. All of a sudden, when this market goes up drastically, boom, you've got a lot more money than he does, even though he can look at you and brag about how much his investor made him 30% over the last year. Well, and you only made 12 because they capped you at it. The problem that they're not telling you is, oh, I had 50 grand to start with because the guy that I'm working with never lost money for me.
Right, yeah.
So all of a sudden, over the long run, indexing has always outworked it.
Okay.
So what happens is when then they invest that. So how do you get tax-free money? Okay, so in a mutual fund, Roth IRA, you've got let's say let's start out with $250,000. When you draw, you have Social Security. Let's say you take $20,000 out of that. That puts your account value at $230,000 if you took $20,000 out. You're only going to gain $230,000. They're only going to give you interest on $230,000.
Right.
In this life insurance policy, you didn't take money out. You took a loan out, which now means it's not taxable.
Right. Okay.
Because a loan is not taxable. They're going to still. So if right now interest rates are fairly low, so they're giving loans of about 4%, but their policies are illustrating at 6.99%. Some of the better companies. They're going to credit 6.99% interest on the $250,000. You took $20,000 out, they're only going to charge you 4.96 or 4.0% interest. They're going to credit you're making money off the money you just borrowed.
Right. Okay.
So you in an insurance, because here's what you have to keep in mind. Because you're not taking the full $250 and investing in it, your insurance policy will never make as much money as a mutual fund will.
Okay.
It just won't, or any other type of fund. The thing that you need to keep in mind is I always ask them, do you want to have $1.5 million in your account when you retire, or would you rather know that you can pull $4 million out of your account when you retire?
I'd rather know that I could pull $4 million out.
When you draw this, when you take $20,000 out, you've got only got $230,000 left.
Right.
The market may or may not make $20,000 for you next year.
Right.
So you keep drawing down. This account, the accumulation value in this account is not necessarily going down.
Right.
It's looking, and at some point when the insurance company, when your account draws to zero, if they can't make enough money, or depends on all the market volatility, but you're more likely to pull $4 million out of your account on index universal life than you will if you put it in a mutual fund or ETF. Like I said, you're probably never gonna make as much money in an index universal life product.
Right, but
you're gonna probably pull more out of it.
Right,
and it's tax free. It accumulates tax free.
Yeah.
You're taking loans out, so it's tax free. Is there a tissue or something around here?
Oh, what?
A tissue?
Yeah.
I'm getting a little bit of runny nose. So basically, that's kind of what I try and help put people in. When I say put people in a better financial position, because not only am I giving them money, this is you have to keep in mind, this is an insurance product. Thank you, Green Bean. I appreciate that. That's good. So basically, putting people in a better financial position is, even let's say on an insurance policy, you get cancer. What's more important to you is that, that's why I say supplemental retirement. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
Because what if you do get cancer and you need to take money out of your policy? Let's say you have a $250,000 policy, right? And you take cancer and you're, man, I got to use 50% of it. You just blew a lot of retirement money. So never put all your eggs in one basket. But it's not a bad idea to have an insurance policy, because what if you do get cancer, you don't have an insurance policy, and you still have to draw out of your 401k out of. Like, you're still screwed.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's better to diversify, which, by the way, is how I beat the market last year, because if I would have only invested in just one or two stocks, I would have probably lost money.
Right, but you had...
I had 9 or, I'm not even sure how many I had at one time, so it kind of evened out. I lost money on some of them.
Of course they came right back.
So basically, that's kind of the way that this works.
Nice.
Is don't give me all your money, but it might be a good idea to look at it. The other thing that I want to talk about real quick is follow the money, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you've learned you follow the money, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of bad press out there because insurance policies have traditionally not necessarily done what they do today. If you have a mutual fund, okay, let's say we start, you've got an account balance of $100,000 in a mutual fund, right? This guy, you're paying this guy to invest the money for you wisely, you're hoping.
Right, yeah.
But if the market goes down, statistically speaking, like I said earlier, only 5% of financial gurus, whatever, have been able to beat the market over a long period of time.
Right.
Not very many of them. He's paid most, not all of them, okay? I can't speak for all of them, but generally what you're going to see is they're paid on how much money they're making. Some of them are even paid regardless do the accounts make money or not.
Right.
So all of a sudden you may be paying someone, even though your account value is shrinking, you may be paying a guy to lose you money.
Okay. All right.
Why would you do that?
I'd hope I wouldn't do that.
So because they get paid, they're incentivized to do good for you, right?
Right, yeah.
Which is not necessarily a bad thing. I get paid a one-time sum of money, and people want to talk about how much money you get off a life insurance policy. Just for example, off of a the way I get paid, let's say you pay $250 a month into a policy. Actually, on a UL it's a little different, but on a straight up term policy I'd get so $250 times 12 first year commission, and 65% of that. That's my comp rate on it, which is a pretty substantial amount.
Right.
On a UL policy, depends on how you set it up and what you want to do, it's substantially lower. Depending on if I want to give you more death, there's a lot of things I'm not going to go into that. But I am paid to basically do a good job one time and get this in an account that's going to make you money.
Right, okay. Nice.
So that's the way I'm paid. So there's so many, I read blogs and stuff about people. They want to talk about life insurance and IULs. Like, oh, put your money in our ETFs or whatever.
Right.
And I'm just like, that's great. Definitely put it into Roth IRAs or 401ks.
Yeah.
But this doesn't really appeal to me.
Right. No, I hear you.
So why do I want to pay someone to manage an account irregardless of how well it does in the market?
Well, yeah, no, I agree.
So these are good, and you're probably going to make money in them. You're not going to lose all your money unless you have someone that absolutely has no clue what they're doing. But at the end of the day, I think it's a good idea to probably kind of move your money out of accounts, because right now people are like, oh, but my friend made $15,000 or 15% last year.
Yep.
All you're showing you can make my money make 7%. I'm like,
right,
yeah, that's true. How about next year?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I look at it, is like over time, indexing will always beat the market.
Yeah.
Always. And that's kind of why, looking at products like this, I like to advise my clients, definitely.
Yeah.
Do some research on your own. Figure out really what's going to work the best, what's going to fit the best for you. At the end of the day, not one size fits all.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of you knowing what products and having someone that's actually going to take the time to help you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good. Producer, can we have you move this camera back out so we're both in the shot? Are we good? Are we moved back out?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm done with this.
You're good. Awesome. Well, hey, if you guys found this guy's helpful, make sure you go find him. I don't know, can you still see you on the camera here? Are we good? Make sure you guys find him on, how do you want people to contact you?
They can go to my website, www.edwinlmiller.com.
And did we have this information pulled up earlier, producer?
Go like this.
We'll just make it nice and simple for you so people can see it.
That's not gonna be able.
So you guys go. Is he being a shenanigan? Is he being green bean? Oh, he doesn't have to do this.
I don't have to do that? You good?
We're not Amish anymore.
We're not Amish anymore. Okay, yeah, that's right. Sometimes you have to remember that.
Yeah, awesome. Well, hey, go find him online, guys. And you're also on Facebook, Edwin Miller. Go look him up and make sure you guys contact. He's a super nice guy. He'd love to help you set up your financial situation to be better, right?
I mean, at the end of the day, the only thing I can do for people is I can only help people that want to be helped.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Edwin, thanks for coming to be on the show. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you came. So I hope you all enjoyed this. Make sure you guys share it out and find this guy online and just reach out to him. He's a cool guy, and he'll help you any way he can. So thank you all so much for watching. We appreciate it. Again, thank you to our sponsors that help make this show possible. Just appreciate everyone. Have a good night. God bless you. Adios.